All right, y'all. We do have Dr. Bryant coming in right now to join us for Sheen Talk Live. She's coming in.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I was trying to join from my Mac, from my laptop, and it was just giving me issues. So I was like, let me hop on my phone instead of spending more time, right, trying to join you on here. So
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You look beautiful, by the way.
thank you. I'm going to set you up right here so that, I don't know why my Mac wouldn't let me join. It usually does, but we're going to set you up there. Okay, awesome.
All right.
I'm
All
ready to
right.
rock and roll.
Awesome. Awesome. How's your day going?
Going really good. I've had clients all morning.
Mm.
And it's cute. I moved around my 12 o'clock so that we can do the interview live. And she's so cute. When I got off the call with her, I go, okay, I have to go. I have an and she's 16. She's like, oh, so is that why you had to change my appointment? I said, yes, absolutely. Right. Such a smart young girl. Yeah. So I'm excited to be on, and I'm glad. So thank you for having me.
Of course, my pleasure, definitely. And so, of course, we do have this coronavirus pandemic going on right now, and a lot of people are dealing with it in the most fragile to the most, comfortable ways. For you, how has the coronavirus affected your personal daily life, would you say?
So for me, because I have already always seen my clients, majority of them via Skype and FaceTime. And so because I have clients that are like in different states, I have clients that are in different countries. And the only transition was taking my in-office clients and getting them via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime. And it's interesting because I've only had one or two that was like, no, I really enjoy being in person, and that's something I'm used to, and I want to come in and do it that way because I'm very hands-on with my clients. But other than that, believe it or not, I am just as busy, if not busier. With the Corona, I do a lot of professional development with like NBC Universal and different big corporations. And it didn't stop us. NBC, the Women's Network, there's about 2,500 to 3,000 women nationwide. And so, they have created a webinar, which I think is freaking amazing because, see, without this Corona, I was only able, unless I was flying in and out of town, but I was only able to provide a workshop for maybe in the hundreds of some of their NBC Universal Women Network employees here. But with this Corona and us doing it via virtually, I'm able to provide that information for over 3,000 women. For me, that's amazing. And so, perception is everything. Situations like this, to me, they're used to show people how to exercise their creativity and how to get resources. And that's what it's about. It's about, okay, how do I, as a businesswoman, as a businessman, get resourceful in a time like this? And, as the Bible says, and I believe, it's like everything you need, all the tools are right here. And oftentimes we're looking out there to see, where these tools out here are and who can provide them for us. They're right here. You already have them.
Absolutely.
And you tap into that, and you tap into your source, because I say the source provides the resource. And if you're plugging to the source and not the resource, you always have an ample, well enough, amount of supply of resources for you to do whatever you need to do in any circumstance. And that's what's really important. So it's been awesome. It's been a good experience for me. And I've been able to provide a free COVID-19 group live coaching sessions every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via Zoom. And because of that, we have people on the call from New Zealand, from Brazil, from London. From all around the world who are in this group live coaching session. And it's allowing everyone to really understand that connection comes from the heart space. Connection is really not a physical thing. And that's why you have so many people prior to this Corona, and even now, where the divorce rate was already at its highest prior to Corona. Now, during this pandemic, the divorce rate has heightened because people are having to stay in the house with their significant other, and that's a physical connection. If you don't have the internal connection, then you don't have anything anyways. And so,
Absolutely.
you know, it looks like it's a lot going on that's negative and scary. And it is. But in retrospect, if you're looking at it from a spiritual optics, or from a optics of understanding how things work in the world from an optimistic perspective, it's really showing a lot of people the things they need to see to ascend or elevate to next level, because you can only go as high as you are. That's it. You know, the external world matches your internal world's fly. You want to know what your fly is internally? Look at your world. That's what you're agreeing with. And you cannot agree with something higher than the agreements that are within yourself. And this pandemic is isolating people who are single. And we have people like this on the call, on our group life coaching session, saying, I'm single. And now all this guilt and this pain and these issues are coming up. Yeah, because that's what happens when you don't deal with self and you push it under the rug, or you just, you overcompensate, or you do things to distract from what you're really going through, when your pain has to be acknowledged, because the cure for the pain's in the pain. And if you don't acknowledge that, when you get moments like this, and it may not be a pandemic, it could be a personal crisis going on, right? And you got to sit with self, you know, self calls on self to have a conversation. And that conversation looks like pain, or that conversation looks like healing, that says, girl, we've done this. We got through this. Look at us. We're good. Let's read a book. Let's have a glass of wine. You know, let's have that conversation. Or it looks like, my name is guilt, and I'm pain, and I'm broken, and I've been trying to call on you, and I've been needing you to acknowledge me. I've been needing you to process me, and you haven't done that. So now that I finally got your attention, now that you're finally alone, can you pay me some attention? Can you process me? Can you look at me?
Wow.
Look at the broken pieces. Can we get this together? Because self really wants to be healed. Self wants to be whole. Self wants to be happy. Self wants to be loved.
Yes.
Self wants that. You know, self doesn't want to be broken. Nobody wants that for themselves.
Right.
But if you don't heal that and your cup runneth over, we have a self cup, I always say, and it runneth over. Whatever it runneth over is what you get to drink. And so you got to put in that thing what you want to drink and who and what you want to produce, because we only can give what we have, and we only produce who we are. And so that should be also a optics, a perspective of, what do I want to produce? And then you start to create that in yourself, you know, and then we see in others who we are, not who they are. And so also, you want to know who you are, just make a list of what you see in other people. And I say it in my book, Mental Detox. If you spot it, you got it, bad or good. If you spot it, you got it. You can't see something that's foreign to you. You can't resonate with something you never had or you don't have.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and that's why, again, the Bible said it's good for me that I was afflicted. Why? Because you can't teach what you don't know.
Right.
And we don't gain knowledge through a book. And obviously I'm a doctor, so I went through education for many years. So I'm pro book smart. I'm pro education. I'm pro information. I'm pro knowledge. But what I'm more pro is, knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that is power. And so through experience is how you get your real lessons and how you get your real wisdom. And through experience is how we're able to teach other people. If I wasn't an abandoned little girl, I couldn't help my abandoned little girls who sit on my phone every day or come in my office for me to help and coach them through their life. If I hadn't experienced heartbreak or being broken or taking my broken pieces and making peace out of it, I couldn't teach women and men how to do that on their own. If I wasn't a businesswoman who was successful in my career and in my private practice, I couldn't teach others how to build their business and how to build it on a strong foundation, how to keep it legal, how to incorporate themselves, how to be strong, how to do what they do and let spirit do what it does. I only know those tips and tools because I've been in a place of uncertainty, because I've been in a place of being broken, because I had to take a look at myself and say, what the hell is going on right here? This ain't working. We got to do something different, right? Because I got to a place where I was fed up with being fed up. And from being fed up with being fed up, I had to figure out a blueprint of how to never be fed up again, and how to be in peace, in God's peace, through what I'm going through and through what I'm doing. And I had to learn how to plug into source and go to God for everything and go to man for nothing. And because of that, I am a vessel. And because of that, I can teach my principles and I can teach my tips that I know work because I've applied them to myself. Not because I read them in a book and I'm trying to apply them and show everybody. It's because I've been all of those moving parts of the clients that God has sent to me. I'm able to say, girl, me too. Or bruh, I've been there. Let me tell you, I've been there. You know, I've experienced that. And this is what I did that worked for me. But there's not one way of obtaining the peace or obtaining healing. But this is the way that I've done it myself. And I'm willing to help you research other ways to doing it.
Now, how do you find the balance between that relation aspect and the doctoral aspect of it? I mean, at what point do you feel like I need to remove myself out of this and focus on the patient or, you know, the client or what have you? Like, how do you go about that?
So all of my sessions are client-centered.
Okay.
However, when you are a person who's in tune with yourself, and you're really in tune and connecting with your client, which I believe all therapists, all coaches, anyone counseling, treating someone or helping someone and coaching them, the key thing is to be in tune with self, first of all, so you can be in tune with your client, because people can feel that stuff. They know when you're not in tune. They know when you're disconnected. They're not stupid. They can feel it. And so it's always client-centered, meaning it's always about what they are working on, what they need help with, what they need tools on. But whenever I get the opportunity to self-disclose appropriately, meaning my client is feeling alone, my client is feeling lost, they feel like they're the only ones in it, they're an alien in this space. Whenever I get the opportunity to say, no, let me express to you how I've been there. So I can't say I know exactly what you're feeling, but I can say that I can resonate with what you're describing. This is how I felt when I was in there. I had to shift up my energy to do X, Y, and Z. And you will see that relationship totally start to cleave. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. When you show empathy for someone, it means I've been there. I feel you. I've been there. I hate that you're in this space because I've been in that space, or I'm in that space too. Sympathy is, ooh, I'm sorry you're going through that thing. God, it ain't me. Okay? Both are not bad, but there's something very unhuman and cold about sympathy, because it says, I'm sorry you're there. I can't get in the lion's den with you, but I can watch from afar, and you really can't tag me in. You can't tag me in, because if I get in that den, I don't know. This is unfamiliar territory for me. Empathy says, I've been there, and tag me in. I had this fight before. Tag me in. If we got to go in there together, if I got to go in there for 10 minutes and tag you back in, I know what it feels like. I've had to process this. And so I understand you were here.
Right. I don't want the pity party. I need help.
I need help. And help is, I've been there. This is what I did. Let's process this. How do you feel about that? How is this working for you? And I'm always measuring what my clients are doing so that we can see if that's working. Because if it's not, we have to switch up and reroute and figure out a different plan, because we're creating a blueprint, and no one's cookie cutter. No one's cookie cutter. It could be this very similar situation, but they're going to experience it totally different. And so I always keep it client-centered, but I do self-disclose a lot with my clients, because I think it's important for them to not look at me as though I have this title of a doctor, especially when it comes to some young men or women, some young girls or boys. She's a doctor. She has this title. It's really cute. One of my clients said, I didn't know how you were going to take me telling you that I was gay, because I know that you talk about God a lot, and you are very God driven, and you're very spiritual, and you're a doctor. So I didn't know how you would take it. And that is the stigma that I have to make sure that I remove, because if I'm going to be client competent, cultural competent, race competent, right? Culturally sensitive, and gay is a culture, Black is a race, two totally different things. I have to make sure that they understand that whatever I believe in and whatever I'm speaking on or preaching on, it doesn't mean a judgment towards your culture. And my goal is to make sure that whatever you're choosing that dynamic is healthy. Whatever love you're choosing, that I'm helping you do it and form it in a healthy way. Because you got some heterosexual relationships that are unhealthy as hell. Excuse my language. They're unhealthy. And the goal is to have health, not to have what looks right.
Right.
Not to have what looks right. And if loving whatever you choose to love is something that is healthy for you, and it is encouraging you, and it is empowering you, then for me, where do I have permission to tell you to do different, regardless of what my own preference is for myself? I don't self-project onto my clients what I feel. My goal is to make sure that they are in the most peaceful, healthiest space they can be in, and that their house, I always say we have a 3-part house, is aligned, because as the Bible says, a house divided cannot stand. And the house is you. We have a 3-part: your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. That is your house. If that is in discord, then you don't stand on anything. You cannot stand. That has to be in alignment before a mother can come in and exemplify for their baby boys and girls what structure and what an internal house that's united is. And before she can bring unity in her home, she can't be divided. And before her and her husband can be unified, he or she can't be divided within their own internal home. You got these broken houses coming together talking about let's build when nobody has any bricks or any wood or anything to build a foundation. You can't come and build with me, and I can't build with you if all I have to offer is brokenness. We can build a broken house.
Whew. And when you're specializing and you have that kind of that knowledge, how is it in your personal everyday life, carrying that kind of not about people's mental health and just interacting on a daily basis? Like, I know it's got to frustrate you sometimes just in random encounters.
So it's interesting you say that, because before I started doing this, before I had my education on it and my experience on it, people frustrated me more because I thought, like, do they not just get this, or this was common sense to me? There was a lot more judgment and frustration in me. But as I begin to become an expert at this, and I begin to gain experience and knowledge and really great training, and the understanding of people and their behaviors and their traumas and the triggers and the causes of this, my frustration turned directly into pure compassion. So at this point in my career, I have so much compassion for people. The exact things that would frustrate me at the beginning when I was green are the things that I have so much compassion for. And in that moment, I get to reflect on myself and go, ooh, look at where you've came, because that would have been like a hello, no brainer. Now you're going, wow, look at this person really growing and really starting to have self-awareness, and look at what they're asking, because their questions are telling you that they want to heal and they want to know and they want to grow. And I had a client yesterday. I do business coaching for her, not personal coaching. And she's like, what is the difference between the LLC and the corporation or the DBA? Are they the same thing? And then she goes, I'm so sorry, if I'm asking dumb questions. And I said, no, you got to ask this, because I want you to have it right. And it's important that your business is successful. And so that part, I found this love for her, going admiration as well, saying, I admire that you're bold enough to ask questions that you believe are dumb, and they're not. And I admire you for being on this call and saying, you know what, I want to get this business rocking and rolling. If I got to ask questions, I'm going to ask, because God blesses the bold. And we have to, as I said in our group life coaching session last night, you have to wear your coat. You have to wear your coat. The Bible says, wear your coat and be okay in your coat. Because if someone else tried to wear it, it wouldn't fit them anyways, and vice versa. You don't want nobody else's coat. You wear yours and you be proud in it and be okay with that. And so I now have so much compassion for others, but it's also because I've done so much healing within myself that the judgments that I was placing on myself, the harsh criticism, not the constructive criticism, the harsh criticism that I was placing on myself. Remember, we only can give what we have. That was the
Yeah.
frustration I was projecting onto others. And because now I have a better understanding of myself and I love every moving part about me and I have so much compassion, I'm able to give that. I'm able to say, no, I get it. Because I love on me like that. I can love on you like that. I can have compassion and understanding for you. I don't have to beat you up when you're wrong. You know, I don't have to criticize you in a way that's used as a weapon. I can use my constructive criticism and my testimony as a tool for you to say, you got this because I had it. You ain't no different than me. You may just not know the things that I know or not know how to apply the things that I've applied. But with my coaching and with my compassion and with my love and with my understanding and with my patience that I'm going to give you, because we're going to process this thing through. One thing we will do is process it, and we will get to a place of you knowing how to apply these things. Now, it's up to you to do the work. But if you do the work, I promise you the work works. It works.
And with all of this going on, that just brought me right back to present day, because you have all of these people who are panicking and treating people differently and moving just a little more hesitant than they would, or a little more aggressive than they would. Right. How do you feel about the mental state of people right now with their, being unsure about their income and the health of the people that they interact with on the street? Like, how do you see that mental strain?
Well, what I say is, which sounds cliche, but it's just the truth. It's faith over panic. And I say that, God just says, believe in me and trust me. He ain't even told you to believe in him this big. He said, if you have faith of a mustard seed. And if you Google the size of a mustard seed, he ain't asking nothing from you. A mustard seed is so small. Some of them you have to have a magnifying glass to see. And so when he says have faith of a mustard seed, that means that you have faith over fear. That means that not that you won't feel fear, but when you feel the fear, you replace it with strong faith. And if you can't replace it yourself with strong faith, then you use your words, and you say, God, I'm in fear. I can't replace it. Can you do it for me? Can you do it for me every time I feel fear until I learn how to do it on my own? And at that point in time, then I won't have to call on you for that, but I'm going to be calling on you for other stuff, because I'm always learning. I'm always a work in progress.
Right.
And I always say, peace over panic. And how do you come into peace over panic? That's your faith. When you remember how big your God is, and if you just look over the things that he has shown up in your life and in your world continuously every day, then that should be enough for you to have faith. And then also make your request, like I stated earlier. If you don't know how to do these things, make your request. The Bible says that to be anxious for nothing and make your request be known to God. All it says is a request. It doesn't say you got to know how to fulfill the request.
Right.
You do what you do and make your request. You let Spirit and God do what it does and let it fulfill your request, because no request returns void. But see, if you know these things, and let me say this, let me back up. Not if you know them, because I always tell my clients this, it's not good enough, because they say, I know, it ain't good enough for you to know. It's not good enough for you to think. You have to embody these principles. You have to embody the principles. The word may not be your principle. That's fine with me. That's okay. The word is my principle. So I embody it. It's not good enough to say faith over fear and still be in fear. You have to embody what faith looks like. You have to take yourself in emotionally, because embodying something is not a physical act, and it's not a mental act. It's an emotional act. You have to emotionally go into embodying being in this faith. And if it's mine, it's mine. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's just real. Doesn't mean that you don't wash your hands. Doesn't mean that you don't wear your mask. Doesn't mean that you don't take protective measures. But what it means is, as you're taking protective measures, you understand that if it's yours, it's yours. That's just what it is. So you go into faith of saying, God, whatever your will is, just keep me in peace during your will. Just keep me in joy during your will. That's all I ask. I'm not going to resist your will, but I want to be okay in it. Don't have me in turmoil in your will. Because obviously, the way I believe, the way I believe, this is his will. Otherwise, it would not be happening.
Yeah.
And whatever my part in this pandemic, I just tell God, allow me to be obedient enough to play that part in whatever your will be. That's all I ask. Give me the confidence. Give me the words to speak, the ears to hear, and the actions to exhibit that you will have me do. But let me be in peace while doing it. Don't have me in here broken, trying to be obedient and do what you need or ask of me to do. And that's how you keep the peace. But also listen to YouTube videos that exhibit positive affirmations. Dr. Bryant has a Dr. Bryant channel on YouTube. I also listen to Abraham Hicks. I listen to Bishop T.D. Jakes. There's certain YouTube videos I go to that know how to ease me, because they teach me how to think. They teach me how to process. They teach me how to be in faith. They don't tell me to be in faith. They teach me how to be in faith. We need more people telling us, teaching us how to do the principles that they have out for us, not just telling us what the principles are. Because knowing it does nothing for us if we need to embody it in order for us to be it. Doing is exhausting and being is liberating. Whatever you are doing in your life will exhaust you. But when you are just being, whatever that is, good or bad, if you realize when I just be, I'm liberated because I'm not doing.
I'm most comfortable just living in it.
Just be.
Yeah.
And that's really good enough. That's really good enough. You'll feel when God stretches you. You have to be obedient to that stretch, but you'll feel it and don't resist it. So oftentimes when we're feeling discouraged or we're feeling these doubt, we're feeling those things that create discomfort, it's because God's stretching you. Now, if you pray for next level and you start to get stretched, why are you resisting the stretch that's needed for you to go to next level? Listen, next level brings new devils, which means it has to be a different you, a different mindset, a different approach to deal with the next level things. So next level is going to stretch you. You don't ascend by being the same person you were at this realm, at this level. It doesn't work like that. And you will continue to stay right there if you believe it works like that, because your belief is doing you a disservice. You have to stretch to get to next level. You have to go from that caterpillar to the butterfly. You have to shed your skin. That's just what you have to do. And all those things, metamorphosis is not comfortable. Birth is extremely painful, and it gives you the most beautiful, the most, miraculous gift a person can have is something new. And it doesn't have to come in a child human form, but it's something new. And when you get something new, guess what? You have to learn that newness all over again. And that should be something excited for you. So when God starts to stretch me and I start to feel funky, first I go into obviously my humanistic norm of, oh my God, like, why am I feeling like this? What is good? Then I go, hold on. Get your spiritual optics. You pray for some stuff. He's stretching you. So I say, stretch me, God, stretch me. Ooh, I feel it, but stretch me. Oh my God. Because I know once this stretching goes and I get to that stretch capacity that I need to be in to be able to deal with the capacity at next level, then I can agree with it. Then that next level of that prayer can manifest. Manifestation takes place at the point of agreement. You can't agree down here and manifest up here. It does not happen. So the main thing of what I'm saying is to learn how to surrender. When all fails and you just cannot understand, because God's not a God of confusion, you don't get it, you can't understand it, you're confused, I surrender. I surrender. Have your way. What are we doing? That is the most powerful thing you can do. And you're kind of see yourself ebb and flow right into the space that you're supposed to be in. Right into that space.
And it seems like that is the perfect way to look at this year. Because I feel like so many people went from 2019 to 2020. Like 2020 is my year. I'm talking about from the most driven person to the most chill, relaxed person was like 2020. I'm coming out swinging. And now everyone's all disappointed and everyone feels like I should have tried and I wasted my time. And for me, it's got to be something pulling like, okay, are you guys just going to let go? Are you going to give up, or are you going to take this and say, okay, obviously I got to go through this trial. I'm not just going to get it handed to me. But I feel like everyone's just giving up. And like, what do you say when it comes to those non-believers or the people just kind of just throwing up their hands?
Yeah, I say that it's normal to feel that way. However, it is still your year. It's been your year. It's still your year. I don't care. Listen, it's not what it looks like. It's what you will have it to be. Speak to those things that are not as though they are what you want them to be. I know I'm going, Bible verse here and there, but this is just me being and not doing. You speak into those things that are not as though they are already what you want them to be. And I say that to say it is your year. God does a thing called pruning. Okay. And we usually see the pruning happen in our personal life, where he prunes the man, he prunes the woman, he prunes the job, he prunes the friendship, he gets to cutting all these things off. And then you experience it personally within your own space going, dang, but that was a friendship. Okay, so I guess it just wasn't. But I really like that job, God, or I thought he or she was the one. Okay, here I go again. I got to process this. I got to emotionally do this. I got to get through this breakup, get through this job. I got to apply for a new job. But that's called a pruning process. There's pruning time and seed time. Okay? God prunes whatever is not working in your world. God just so happens to say, guess what? I'm going to prune the whole world at once because I'm not about to prune y'all individually no more. And if you think about the story of the fig tree in the Bible, Jesus came to the fig tree, seeing no fruit. He said, okay, I'll give you a day. Now, this means a tree. That means a tree was already grown. It had a root, branches, and everything. Leaves, no fruit. Our job is to be fruitful and multiply. He gave that fig tree a day to be fruitful. Came back the next day and said, because you're not fruitful, you'll never grow fruit again in your life. Because you're not fruitful, you'll never grow fruit again in your life. What he does is to prune. He prunes what's already grown. So the fig tree, had it grown something, it would have gotten cut anyways. Hear me out. It got consequence that it would never grow fruit again because it didn't grow anything. Okay? That's a hardship. I can't grow fruit anymore. But if I would have grown something anyways, the fig tree would have grown anything, one apple, one orange. God would have pruned that so that it can multiply. The only way to multiply is for something to be pruned. Whether it's your hair being trimming your ends and it multiplying and growth, whether it's a tree being pruned, a leaf being pruned, it doesn't matter. People take that as one, 3 steps back to take 1 step forward. It's the opposite. It's 1 step back of a small clip or a pruning so that you can multiply like crazy. Those dreams that you have, those prayers you've been praying, this right here is a season of pruning. Let God prune those things. Your job is to be in peace. You're not doing the work. He's doing the work. He has to go around the world and prune all these things and prune all these people and prune all these, the high divorce rate and prune the disparities that are going on in different cultures and races. He has to do a process of pruning. All you have to do is the process of be still, know that I'm God. If that's too hard for you to do, then you got bigger issues. Be still, know that I'm God. Let me prune this thing. And I promise you that once I nip and cut and prune, you will see a whole world of fruitfulness, of harvest. You will multiply like you were meant to do. And multiplying is anything in your world, anything you touch should be turning to gold. Anything you get involved with should be intentional. My intent is to bring value to this interview. My intent is to grow anyone who's listening to this interview. My intent is to give them peace, help them figure out not what to do, but how to do it. And to understand God is pruning the world. God is pruning the world, and pruning, the end of pruning is seed time, baby. So while you're in the pruning time, you should be excited for the seed time. Oh my God, I cannot wait to see what seeds I planted to see them grow. Matter of fact, let me plant seeds in the time of pruning. So by the time this pruning's over, I have things that I have intentionally planted that will multiply in my world and in my life. That's the optimistic mindset that you take. I'm taking Dr. Bryant Institute from an individual practice, and I'm planting my seeds for my seed time, and we're expanding to group practice because I see that God is pruning. So as he's cutting, the next step is he gets to multiply me. And I want to make sure that I got my seeds planted ready for when he pours in that multiplying fertilizer. I'm right here. I've been planting and planting. So my advice to everybody is use this time to plant your seeds. Use this time, even if you're planting seeds for some, is not always moving in action. Sometimes it's stillness and getting to know who you are so you can know what to plant when it comes your season. It's not always about doing something. Don't be the rocking chair, moving and getting nowhere. It's best to be sitting still and be planting with this, your thoughts, and planting with your emotions to embody that at what you want. So that when harvest time comes, you know yours is coming. Don't be trying to plant during harvest because you got to wait till next season for the pruning, for the watering, for the seed time, and then for the harvest. Start to learn the system. God is a systematic God. Yes. And if you realize any business from Apple to, Mac, Apple, any Disney, all these businesses, NBC Universal, all the BET, all these businesses, they're successful because they have created a system that they continue to just plug in every time. Because anything successful will be an image of how God works. It will be systematic. God didn't say, let there be light, and every morning you wake up, he has to say, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. No, it's a system. Light just comes. Darkness just comes. There's a DNA in us. He doesn't have to say grow every day to you. Grow. No, your DNA does it on its own because there's a system he created that's so amazing that it's gonna growth is inevitable through a system of our DNA and of how we grow. So everything in your world is systematic. Start to create systems of knowing the year and the season of your season of growth, because my harvest season may be different than your harvest season, right? So that maybe if I'm in prune season, I know that you're in seed time season. Let me help you plant your seeds. So that if you in harvest and I'm in seed time, girl, get your harvest, but come help me plant.
Right.
That's sisterhood. That's empowerment. Teamwork makes the dream work. And don't compare yourself to anybody else, because as I just said, your harvest time may be my prune time. So as I'm watching you get all this harvest, I'm going through darkness of pruning. And then it may switch at some point. But there's not a person with who's breathing. There's not a person who has oxygen, who has life, who will not experience a season of harvest. But your harvest will only be as big as your seed time, as much as you planted in that time of seed time. So don't expect a harvest as big as, you know, the person you're comparing yourself to. If you ain't planting,
Right.
you plant one seed to her 2 million seeds, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But she's no different than you. The day you decide to plant 2 million seeds will be the day that you also receive a harvest at that magnitude. At that magnitude.
See, that's absolutely beautiful. And I'm so glad that we touched on that topic, because I know there are so many people who are just battling themselves and scared of the future. And it's just such a blessing to have someone, you know, who can sustain your mental, you know, strain and can take the anxiety and make sense of it all. So we thank you. We thank you, Dr. Bryant. How can our viewers, our readers, our listeners find you and get some of your abilities?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the interview. You did a great job.
Thank you.
You look absolutely beautiful.
Thank
The
you.
viewers, yeah, of course, the viewers can find me at drbryant.co. That's drbryant.co, not .com, drbryant.co. My social media is _ Dr. Bryant. Also, at the other Dr. Bryant Institute pages, just at Dr. Bryant Institute. And those are our social media pages. We're on Facebook. Just put in Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on Facebook. Again, but drbryant.co, drbryant.co will have all the information you need on my book and my coaching, my upcoming virtual webinars. And then, of course, you're also able to book me for your own private little webinars or Zoom parties or whatever you guys have, because I've been really busy with those, and those are fun. They're really, really
Yes.
fun. A lot of sororities and fraternities have booked me to do just webinars and give tips on tools, how to get through this and how to actually prepare when this thing comes out. And so we've been having brunches on Sundays with different fraternities and sorors, and I've been the keynote speaker, and it's been really, really empowering and really amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Make sure y'all go and visit her page _ Dr. Bryant. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate it. And you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Stay healthy and stay in good spirits.
Thank you.
Bye.
Y'all, that was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Dr. Bryant. Thank you. Thank you.